It's a one-stop shop for anyone aspiring to join a professional institute, and in a country where a degree like this is a ticket to a career and a bright future. Career Launcher, the company that was formed by a young entrepreneur in 1995, stands out by living up to its promise. In 15 years, the startup that began from a small room in Satya's own house has grown into one of Asia's fastest-growing edu-corporates, with over 225 centers across India, the UAE and the US. Covering a wide range of areas from schooling to higher education, as well as vocational skill training and test preparation. We flash back and find out where the journey began.
Satya, thank you so much for joining me. At 22, 23, you decided to be an entrepreneur. That's quite a leap of faith in the era that we're talking about. Tell me, what compelled you into entrepreneurship?
To me, the first was a good starting point. I searched for what is it that I'm capable of, and then what is it that I love doing. So the teaching and the IIM background part, and then the need in the market, which I had experienced very closely graduating from my college to IIM Bangalore. I realized that there is a gap in the marketplace. So I think these 2-3 factors came together to just make it happen.
As the story goes, you started off in your house with 360 rupees, nothing but 2 chairs, and then you started your journey, which has got you to where you have. So my first question is that it's not a novel idea. Many people have done it. What made you different?
My initial offering to the students was a program called the Personality Development Program. And my instinct or my insight told me that far too much emphasis was being placed on the first part of the selection process, which is the written test. Whereas each year there would be a bunch of people who would get calls from all the IIMs, but they would not convert in the personality assessment part. And I thought that maybe I know a thing or two which might be valuable to the customers, to the students. So that was a differentiating factor.
But let's step back a little. Was the decision to start off something on your own something that was met with resistance? Because in the mid-90s, being an entrepreneur was a risky exercise.
Sure. It was a rare thing, and the awareness was pretty low. You know, it had not even come to a stage where risk was even attached to it. The discussions were itself were very few. I was staying in my father's apartment, so that kind of took care of my overheads. And I think it was pretty easy, not so difficult in convincing people, because I need not have to. When I look back, if somebody were to tell me that, but you had access to 25 lakhs, maybe I would have done something else within the realm of education, because education was something that was exciting me. And I chose this because I had no money. So it was more of a constraint in the OR problem than a ab initio idea.
Okay, from 1 to 80 students, what was the journey like? And was that a more difficult thing to do, that initial scale-up, than the subsequent scale-ups that you did?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would say challenging, but that's when I became a man from a boy, because that teaches you, that taught me enormous amount of things which subsequent successful 10 years did not teach. I was the first one who introduced this OMR sheet-led mock CAT taking. Now here I was a supplementary education player who said that I will give you the exact simulated experience. So I went to the same company that made CAT sheets, and I told him that this year I'll give you 400 or 500, next year I'll give you 10,000, because this is the plan, etc., etc., etc. And he was a nice guy, but perhaps he had a soft corner for an entrepreneur. So he pulled out sheets which were not used and gave it to me at throwaway price. He said, so I got this, I went and did it. Next year I killed myself, and we reached only about 1800 from 400. And I had to still go back. I think this is just one incident that comes to me among half a dozen that I can recall, where it taught me what makes for a very sustainable credibility building. Size of the business doesn't matter after a point in time. What matters is, what do people think about you? What do people think about your company, the brand?
So how did Satya Narayanan transform Career Launcher into one of the leading players in the Indian education sector? Find out when we return.
The franchisee idea, it gathered momentum, and that's because they saw that there was a real value in the technology backbone.
Launcher is a name every MBA or engineering degree aspirant is familiar with, and the man behind it, Satya Narayanan, has had quite a dream run. Like every entrepreneur worth his salt, he had his hits, misses and big bets, most of which seem to have paid off.
You said 225 centers, you're in multiple countries. Now, what does it mean as you scale up business? What are the challenges out there?
In a way, I've made life very difficult for ourselves by having moved from being a pure test prep company 5 years ago to one that is spread across 4 distinct areas of education and training. So, how to take each one to the next orbit is what I am preoccupied with. And I find that each one is at a different stage and needs a different treatment.
As an entrepreneur in the journey, what were the biggest challenges that you faced? What were the 2-3 things that you learned a lot from?
Maybe you're being very nice in using the word challenges, but if you ask me, we keep talking about blunders, tragedies, catastrophes, mistakes.
Harsher words.
Yeah, these are more appropriate words, because then that gives you the appetite to deal with good news, if you can deal with bad news. And I think without any hesitation, I can say that maybe 70% of what we did have been mistakes.
Really?
And when I say that, I'm talking about, what product to launch, what city to launch, who to hire. These are all decisions that one makes on a day-to-day basis. And I'm pretty certain in saying that 30% is a damn healthy rate. You get 30% right, you will get to career launcher. But you shouldn't make cardinal sins that destroys the brand. You can recover 2 bad financial years, but you can't recover, a bruised, poor brand communication in terms of experience.
So you have to be true to the product that you are offering. You have to be true to your customer. Yeah. But what do you have to do to take failure in your stride? What is the mental framework that you need?
What you need is to be able to say with a sense of victory, I am sorry I made a mistake. And in entrepreneurship, it is about I am sorry. Not just in entrepreneurship, I think in leadership, it is about your ability to say I am sorry to a guy who is much junior to you. And if that is done, I think we learn to get on with life. Then you're not searching for the villains. Then people begin to respect you more. And I think these are the things that are not taught. These are the things that's not spoken when we talk about entrepreneurship. And everything is rosy and pink. It is. There is no doubt about it. But there are these very wonderful moments which I think are very valuable.
According to a report by CLSA Asia Pacific Market, the e-learning market size is estimated at 105 crore rupees and is projected to grow to 1,092 crore rupees by 2012. And the under-penetration of technology in India, especially in the education sector, has opened up huge avenues for companies like Career Launcher to innovate and create a space in the country's basic education curriculum. But technology wasn't just a platform to reach out.
When you said scaling up, how did the scale up actually happen? You said you, of course, launched a product, a bigger suite of product, but in terms of the back end, what did it require?
The franchisee idea, it gathered momentum. People started believing in it, and that's because they saw that there was a real value in the technology backbone. We had invested in technology with a complete conviction. The work that we did in enabling our services were phenomenal. We were the first to put up stuff like ERP in a test prep business, student information system, FIS for employees, financial information system. At least 30 to 40% of academic servicing were powered through technology. And that also gave us the control over customer experience. All of this led to a very robust backbone around which all these branches could grow and then sub branches could grow without the core structure getting too much of stress, and that worked phenomenally in our favor.
Technology is still seen as an expense and not something that can generate additional revenue and help you scale up.
Sure.
So in your case, was it different also because there was a technological boom happening across the country, tech companies were in focus, all of you had some kind of a tech back?
Whether it's technology or even HR, these are overheads or these are critical, depends upon the conviction of the business leader. If the business leader is convinced that this is critical for my continued success and continued differentiating factors, then it's not overhead. You don't invest in technology, you might be okay for the next 12 months, but we're going to suffer in the next 2 years.
Another corollary question to this, is the fact that you're dealing with the youth also a factor
Absolutely.
that makes you
Absolutely.
invest in technology in a big way?
Yeah, I think though that has as a phenomenon that has become far more visible in the last 3 to 5 years, but what you're saying is right. Maybe some of them are even smarter than the technologists of 15 years earlier experience if he's not in step with the current technological innovations across the world. You're absolutely right.
As your critical mass and scale improve and increase, you have to invest even more in high-end technology. So how do you go about doing that?
I think howsoever large a company might become, or whatever be the era or the time, if we keep the distance between the consumer and the decision makers the minimum, if we can hear from them directly, we will be on our way. If there are far too many layers and we are not in contact with the customers, then I think we'll get into an area of risk. It's not that if we are in touch, we are going to be infallible. We might still make mistakes.
So a lot of the needs, technological innovations actually come from the customer because they are the end users.
All the time. And not just technology, even the business consumer needs. Technology is an enabler to a consumer problem, to a customer's need. And technology becomes critical because we want to effect that change not in one location, but across 225 locations. So technology is an enabler. It's not a panacea.
Coming up, we focus on the rapidly growing demand for education in India.
We need at the rate of 5,000 new schools per annum for the next 25 years. This is after counting all that government will put. And it is at different levels of the pyramid that Professor C.K. Prahlad always spoke about.
Education for all must be something mandated by the government. But look at the ground and you will see that it is far from being achieved. Ensuring quality education has been a big challenge for the government, and today it is turning to players like Career Launcher for help. In fact, using the technology platform, Satya Narayanan, the company's promoter, is betting big on reaching out.
Let's look at the journey ahead, Satya. I mean, it's a fascinating story of how you've scaled up Career Launcher to what it is today, the multiple products you're in. Going ahead, how do you see brand Career Launcher actually progressing? What are the 3-4 areas that you're looking very big on?
Career Launcher has, today when we talk of Career Launcher internally, CL, there is one part that represents test prep training and vocational training. So there it is betting a lot continuously on test prep going and changing, it is changing in its colors, it's changing in its shape, and I think there's a very interesting entrepreneurial task there. Not all are going to be successful, but I think there's a great opportunity. There's a great opportunity which was never there before. The vocational part that we've entered, that is just about started. It's literally a newborn baby in our country. We're talking about wanting to train 500 million people, 50 crore people in the next 10 to 12 years. Government is going to be a big player there. So the organization has to learn now to deal with government as a customer, which we have not done in the first 15 years. These two we think will continue to grow at about 22 to 25%. The schools, the K through 12, there we started in 2006 and then we now have about 20 schools, including the schools for the poor. There, my bet is that in about 5 years' time, there will be a $1 billion plus market cap, pure K through 12 company in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
That big?
Yeah. Whatever be the noises that we hear, we see, that will be there. There will be a chain that will be running 4,000, 5,000 schools. I have no doubt about it. So there will be profitable, value-adding enterprises at 500 rupees a month school fee to 50,000 rupees a month school fee. I think that market is evolving. And we see ourselves playing a significant role there and hopefully be among the top 3, top 4 players there.
Isn't Career Launcher's success the failure of our education system? Isn't the platform much larger than an individual company can actually service?
Sure, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt.
What needs to be done then?
The reason Career Launcher found a place under the sun was because the mainstream educational institutions refused to look at their mandate with honesty. Their mandate was seen as perpetuating the CBSE curriculum to the student. So the student was incidental, CBSE was critical. When you go to college, they thought that a student's aspiration to get into a management school has nothing to do with this. I am doing BA economics, so why are you asking me about anything else? So the aspirations of the child were peripheral, if not irrelevant. School must do everything possible to bring it into the system of education. But I think now it will begin to happen. You will be surprised now that government now brings out tenders to invite coaching institutions to come and provide coaching in government schools.
In order to reduce the costs and tap into the high demand for education that exists, especially in rural India, there is a greater opportunity for companies to integrate technology with education in order to negate the importance of physical presence and reach every child in the country.
Can technology help you leapfrog from 100,000 to 10?
There's no other way.
There's no other way. And what would the technological solution be?
It could be anything. In today's context, we are right now experimenting with how do we use mobiles to deliver our services. It was VSAT and then moved on to internet. So internet is pretty much a mainstay now. But internet is less smarter than mobile in today's context because a 15-year-old is very comfortable doing all the surfing. So I think we need to just make sure that we don't get too much into the Kupastha Manduka of education. We have to stay afloat and learn from diverse industries how they're employing technology. And education has been a place where a lot of technology has been used. Historically, if you look at a lot of innovation, internet was founded in a university. So if we are open to technological innovations, we could actually partner with technology innovators, technology entrepreneurs to come and use us as the beta institution, beta organization.
What is fascinating about India is, Satya, any business, including ours, including yours, you're dealing with a multiplicity of markets. You also have a very, very basic level where, e-classrooms could be the answer to a lot of problems, for instance. How do you deal with this wide cross-section? And what is your answer for the bottom of the pyramid?
Maybe my answer could be counterintuitive or actually maybe against the tide. But my belief and little bit of experience data-led is that the closer you go to the bottom of the pyramid, the more critical is your technology interventions and innovations. I would think that technology actually is a great, look at our mobile story as an example. Who has it benefited the most? It has benefited the rickshawala, our bhais who come to our homes. It has benefited me, but I would have afforded it even if it's 10 times the price. So to me, technology is more critical when we travel down down the pyramid.
What is Career Launcher working with then? If you're looking at that below, down and a wider mass-based kind of a market, what are you dealing with? What are the innovations that you're dealing with?
Just give you an example. Our MBA prep now, if you come to our center, if you get it 100 rupees, then if you do it on the web, you get it at 1/10 the price. On the K through 12 space, we have set up schools for the poor in interior Andhra. And our assertion is that we have a 6-acre standard school in Hyderabad. And we assert that in Kusumanchi or Khammam or Nalgonda, we offer the same quality of education at 200 rupees a month, in fact 175 rupees a month, whereas here it is 5,000 rupees a month. See, when you go and examine the cost factors, you will find that your land and building take away 7 out of 10 rupees. So can I knock that away as saying, this is a luxury, I don't need this. I need education. So it is about eliminating the non-essentials and focusing on what is most important.
Looking ahead at your journey and looking back from what we have discussed, what is the biggest challenge and biggest opportunity that you foresee, Satya?
Biggest challenge is execution. And I'm sure by saying that I'm stating the obvious, which means can you translate the idea into a measurable, executable project, take it to the ground, execute it, learn from it, come back and scale it 5 times, take it forward, scale it 50 times. I think that's going to be the art that we have to learn a lot more than what we have done in the past 10 years. Opportunity is phenomenal, and I don't think we need to even resort to the macroeconomic figures, etc., to justify it. It's just too humongous. In a country of our size, the largest education company is not even 500 crores. That tells me that anybody could be a winner.
Thank you so much, Satya, for joining me today.
Thank you, Mini. Thank you very much. It's wonderful.